Ay, mi corazón, lávate las manos con amor, lávate las manos con jabón. Ay, mi corazón, por ti noche y día, yo voy a poner mi mascarilla, yo voy a poner mi mascarilla, si voy pa' la vía. La sana distancia, siempre yo la guardo en constancia, siempre yo la guardo en constancia, la sana distancia. Mi sol y mi luna, por ti voy a tomar la vacuna, por ti voy a tomar la vacuna, mi sol y mi luna. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Take care.
Chloe, welcome.
Hey, Matt.
Hi, Chloe. Thanks for joining us. My name's
Of
Anna.
course. Hi, Anna. Nice to meet you.
Chloe is one of the community school coordinators over at Polk. Amazing coordinator over there, doing great things.
Thanks, Matt. Glad
She
to
has
be
created
here.
amazing space for people to speak what they need to, and so I figured she needed a space like this so that she can speak, because she deserves a space to speak.
Thanks, Matt.
So hopefully some other people will come, and so we won't just be looking at you.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so we are live on Facebook right now with this gathering. This is the Health Equity Council, and we have been going live on Facebook once a week over the past month to create space to talk about COVID and the ways that COVID has impacted all of us in our jobs, in our lives at home, in our communities. And we have been asking folks, inviting folks to come forward and converse with us about the specific ways, the unique ways really that they have encountered COVID. A couple weeks ago, we had Jeremy Oyenke from Santa Clara Pueblo come and talk about emergency management and the way that Santa Clara came together in response to COVID. And then last week, we had a great conversation with a local musician who spoke about, he's a Spanish-speaking musician, Oscar Morales, and he spoke about his experience with COVID and in his experience as a member of the Spanish-speaking community with COVID, and how the language barrier gets in the way of accessing medical treatment, finding out information, figuring out how to access resources within COVID and otherwise. So we are very excited today to have some community school coordinators. One join us, Chloe, today, and I'll say hello to Ashley. Welcome, Ashley. Our fearless leader, Dr. Carmela Roybal, is not with us tonight, and so she has tagged me to stand in. And hopefully together with Matt, we can have a conversation to learn about, what it's been like in the schools with COVID. For folks who are joining us, my name is Anna, and I am sitting in for Dr. Carmela Roybal tonight. She's not able to join us, but she has been hosting these COVID info sessions. We've been talking to folks, to leaders and community members across different sectors about COVID and how COVID has impacted them, their work, their families, and so on. And tonight we are live on Facebook, and we're going to have a great conversation with community school coordinators. And so I will pass it over to Matt to go ahead and please introduce yourself, name, your organization, and your position within the school. And then Matt, you can pass it to the next person and we'll keep going that way until everybody's had a chance to say hello.
Sounds good. My name is Matt Kroskigan. I'm one of the health promotion specialists with Department of Health, and I work in the metro area. And I'll tag team over to my colleague who is also here, Ashley.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ashley Ringwood. I'm a health promotion specialist alongside Matt, and I work with Bernalillo and Torrance County. Welcome, everyone. And I'll go ahead and pass it on over to Irene.
Hi, good evening. I'm Irene Camarillo. I'm the community school coordinator at Ernie Pyle Middle School in the beautiful South Valley. And I'll pass it on to Chloe.
Thanks, Irene. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me tonight. I'm Chloe Coffin, and I am the community school coordinator at Polk Middle School, also in the South Valley. And I will pass it to Sergio.
Great. And then we also have Enrique Cardiel here with us, signed in, but he is live in the office distributing COVID tests right now. So he won't be with us on camera or audio, but he is signed in to help host this event tonight. So thank you to Enrique. And thank you so much to everybody for showing up tonight. So we have a lot of great people on the call. I think it would be great to just kind of dive into the conversation. We'd love to just hear from Chloe, Irene, and Sergio. So we've got 2 schools and a high school, and we've got somebody else joining in. Jess, like West Mesa High School. So this is great. This is really, really great. We had a conversation a couple weeks ago wondering what COVID has been like for our young people, and not just our really young people, but for our young adults who have been really forced to kind of take their lives on screen, and done really important things like graduating or socializing in this really crucial time. So Jess, we will invite you to introduce yourself. We are live on Facebook with the Health Equity Council today, having a conversation about COVID with a set of community school coordinators.
All right, I apologize. I'm kind of in the dark here. I am not in the dark, but apparently my computer thinks I am. My name is Jess Selby. I'm the community school coordinator at West Mesa High School, and I apologize for being late. It's been a crazy day, as many of you can likely imagine. But I'm glad to be here and engage in whatever conversation I'm able to come up with. I can't say I'm prepared to be here, but I'm glad to be here nonetheless.
Thanks so much for coming, Jess, and you're prepared however you're here. The fact that you're all here, this is wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Many factors, right? The events over the weekend, it being a Monday, it being off hours, all of these things can make it hard to show up. And so just showing up as you are is really all we can ask for. I am going to throw a link into the chat. If you have a chance to click on it and sign in, that would be great. It's just great. We'd love to get your contact information to keep you in the loop about things going forward with the Health Equity Council. A little tiny bit about us. We've been around for a couple of decades doing public health work and health equity work in the county and in the city. We really are a organization. We convene folks to network and to build bridges to support a collaborative effort toward health equity across the county. We've been hosting these COVID conversations for the last couple of weeks. We've been having conversations about the impacts of COVID, about vaccines, about tests, about the impacts within our Spanish-speaking communities, the responses from leadership at Santa Clara Pueblo. And we are also simultaneously holding a COVID rapid test distribution event tonight, right now at our offices at 220 Adams Street Southeast. Anybody can show up, no questions asked, and we have COVID tests to get out into the community to keep people tested and aware so that we can help decrease preventive spread. We've got a couple of other folks who have joined us. It's so great. We did go through introductions. Jess, nice to see you in the light. And I will invite Rosa to please introduce yourself, just where you work and what you do, and then we'll go ahead and start a conversation.
Hi everyone. I'm Rosa Gonzalez Rogers. I am the community school coordinator at Los Feliz Elementary School. And I'm sorry, the only way I could jump into the meeting is to take my dog running. I mean, this is my normal running time, so that's why I sound a little winded. And I got home a little later than planned. So did I answer all the questions? I'm sorry.
Thanks so much for coming, Rosa.
Okay, and so I'm gonna leave my camera off, guys.
No
I am
worries.
listening. Okay.
Well, again, thank you all so much for being here. Matt, I'd love to pass it over to you. I know you work closely
Yes.
with coordinators. If you want to get us started with the conversation, that would be.
Over the past, so one of my wonderful roles with DOH is that I get to attend as many community school council meetings as I can and support these wonderful folks however we're able to. And there's been a lot of discussion about, COVID and during and as rules change and things like that. And so I'd love to just toss it to you all and with the opening question of what has been your experience in the schools with the pandemic going on. Start as early as you want and whatever's on your mind right now, how has it been? And this is a safe place. So please speak what you need to get off and get out of your head, because that's healthy for all of us to both listen and to get it out. So whoever wants to start, go for it.
I can start. I think I don't want to speak for everyone, but a lot of us kind of in the education world, I think this sentiment, and this is just everywhere, but we're all just tired, really, really tired. For me, especially this past week was so hard. I think for me, sometimes I'm just go, 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 go. And I also think about in my role, I'm not a teacher. And sometimes when I'm feeling super tired and I'm just so exhausted, what I think I feel guilt over that because I'm not the one in the classroom. And I just imagine the teachers have it so much harder than I do. We all play our part. And so when I kind of zoom out, I realize like maybe that's not necessarily the case. Like we're all kind of doing something major and all of us kind of enduring this entire pandemic. We're all just to endure it is like a major feat. But I think sometimes I kind of deny like where my brain and my spirit is at. And I don't really fully recognize how tired I am and what a negative impact it has had on me. But sometimes it catches up to me. And this past week, it really caught up to me. I mean, Jess, I so love that you're here. Jess is so amazing to make the time and space for this. Things just kind of come to a head sometimes. And you know what happened with West Mesa on Friday? I think that for all of us in the network, we're so closely kind of connected. I mean, of course, it affects Jess in the ways that, she can speak on if she wants to, but stuff like, what happened on Friday, I think we all just kind of feel like that's where things are at right now. And it feels really broken and discouraging. And I think we're all just tired. So that's the super honest, raw, that's where I'm at.
I think just to speak on that really quick, I feel like, kind of leading up to the events on Friday, I feel like, where the pandemic has played a role kind of, I guess, in kind of getting us to that point. I feel like one of the biggest things I see is that overall, I feel like people have forgotten how to people during the pandemic. We've been away at home. We've been looking at people through computer screens like this, which is great for networking and such. But in many ways, we've learned, especially our young people have learned, they've kind of, I guess, unlearned some of those interpersonal skills, or they haven't fully developed that ability to, relate to others and to have that, that connection with other people. And their teachers and the staff have just been people, been pictures on a computer screen for a while. And so coming back to in-person education, we've seen an increase. And I know it's not just West Mesa, it's across, it's across APS, it's across our state, it's across our nation. We're seeing increases in, in behavior issues and, in confrontations and, students not wanting to show up to class and students not necessarily caring for the schedule as far as showing up to class on time. And I feel like much of that, they're not new problems, but they've been exacerbated as a result of our virtual learning and just trying to readjust to some sense of normal. And I know the masks are, really hot topic, but I think honestly, even sometimes just seeing people's faces again now it's an adjustment, and it's something that that we're all working on. And so just trying to find ways to encourage the development of those interpersonal skills, and how do we relate and how do we sympathize and empathize and see things from other people's perspectives, because in the virtual world, it's so easy to get caught up in what our perspective is, and that's the only perspective that exists, and not having those opportunities to see things through other people's eyes, and it makes it harder to deal with those conflict resolutions.
Thank you so much. Any other coordinator want to offer some? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll chime in. First of all, I wanted to say sorry. I guess my audio was working. You guys got to hear me telling about dinner and all that stuff. But I'm speaking kind of on behalf of conversations that I've had within our school, and also as, from a space of bearing witness to some of this stuff. But there is an epic sense of despair and hopelessness. And I know that apathy is something that sometimes goes with their, a sense of adult perceiving apathy in teenagers is something that it's a diet, or like a reality that's been going on forever. But there's a new level to it that all the teachers have been talking to me about, that I've had the opportunity to speak with, and offered really wonderful insights on why they think that is. One of them was talking about how their students being online were failing because they're taking care of their siblings, they're taking care of other things. And so the grades become arbitrary. And why continue to work for these arbitrary grades if whatever I do is not really going to matter? Thank you, love. And so that was one insight. The other insight doesn't have as much to do with the pandemic, but the digital age in which we're living, of, like, if you speak out, you're going to be put on a pedestal or you're going to be put on blast. And so why, or both, right? And so there's this kind of fear of speaking out, and just having an opinion at all because of the call out culture. And so that's another thing that someone pointed out. And just there's so many like intersections of kind of difficulties that our students at Rio Grande High are going through at the same time, coming from failing schools, like Los Padillas was going through the whole restructure thing as our freshmen were fifth graders at the school. And then there's that whole narrative from teachers of like these freshmen are a whole new animal, something I've never ever seen before. And they don't know how to speak or address them in a way where the students are being heard and where themselves are being heard as teachers. So that's kind of what I've heard and seen and been a part of. Also noticing that in our school, and I spoke with Matt about this, but there's a culture of people not having names, so though we're faces on screens and though our names are written right there, but when we're in a classroom, I had the opportunity to sub for quite a few classrooms, and very few students knew each other's names, even if they were a class of 12, been with each other for a whole semester and a few months, and still didn't know each other's names. So I found that really, really fascinating as well.
Wow, yeah, thanks so much for sharing this, the observations from within the school and things that are really telling for what's going on. My goodness. Wow. Irene or Rosa, would you like to add anything?
So from where I'm at Ernie Pyle, I guess, you know, what my other coordinators have stated, it happens at my school too, you know. What I have heard a lot of from is teachers where, you know, you have these teachers that before COVID loved their job. You know, they were excited to go to work. They had enthusiasm. They had that drive to just teach these kids. And now, you know, every once in a while, I'll hear the, um, you know, well, I don't even know what I'm doing here anymore. I could retire right now. I could just do it, you know, and it's just that, you know, some days I want to come to work and some days it's just, you know, too much. And it's awful to hear that, you know, because we don't get into these jobs, you know, in education for pay or for glory or anything, you know, it's because you love the kids and you love the work. And you know, they're not even feeling that not justification, but that feeling of I've done something with these kids and I've helped them and I've educated them, you know, they don't feel that anymore, you know, just because the kids, you know, some are like Chloe said, or Jessica said, that they just don't know how to talk to people. They don't know what respect is to them because they've been at home doing their own thing, you know. So it's different now that they're in school. The seventh graders seem to be the ones that have it, you know, those teachers have it the hardest. And, you know, they're, like Chloe said, they're just tired. There's days when, I mean, they're taking days off because they just need that time away. You know, we've had teachers that have been on quarantine a couple times already, 2, 3 times, and you know, then they have to worry about how they're going to get paid. You know, if they run out of leave or whatever, and or their kids get sick and you know they got to stay home, and so then they're faced with, okay, I gotta teach these kids online too, or put something in their computers, but we don't even know if these kids have internet access anymore, you know. So it's sad, you know, that they have to go through all this, and that passion for teaching is just kind of diminishing. And you know, you don't see that happy, you know, I love to be at school kind of thing. And there are teachers that really do try their hardest to bring that smile back, and you know, but there's always, you know, and just like me personally, you know, I had a rough time with COVID. I Since the shutdown, I developed really bad anxiety and panic attacks, and I'm not the only one. You know, when I get together at the school, you know, there's someone always, I understand I'm going through the same thing, you know, and it's not easy. And now without the masks, you know, I kind of have shut myself into my room again because I don't know, you know, I'm immunocompromised, have asthma, get pneumonia really easy. I have a lot of different medical issues, and so do other teachers. And, you know, it's just a little scarier now without these masks. And at least for me, it is anyway.
Thank you
Okay, you guys,
for being honest and sharing. Yeah, Rosa, you unmuted. Go for it.
hopefully I don't sound too winded. I stopped a little bit ago while Irene was talking to a walk, but I, of course, reiterate everything that my colleagues say. But to me, as a teacher, when I was a teacher, I hated standardized tests. Our kids are more than numbers. And being a community school grantee, I feel that once again, our kids are just numbers. And when we say our families after just about 2 years, and I know because school closed, I mean, that's when the announcement came on my birthday, March 12th. So I know when 2 years is marking the pandemic here in our country, when things kind of started shutting down, is that we are still in crisis mode. Our families are in crisis mode. We're in crisis mode. I cried on the way home today. I think Chloe hit the nail on the head a little bit, where we just kind of go. I always feel like Fred Flintstone when he was trying to move his little, stone stone vehicle, but his feet just turned and it didn't always move, or didn't seem to move, or like the gerbil on the wheel. But overall, I guess I just look around at the hard work of all of my colleagues, and I'm always just so in awe that they get up every morning and they do it regardless of the comments that are made. But I think we all have to go back to the center of what a school district or a school exists for, and that's for our students. And even in community schools, we're not allowed to put our students' needs at the center of everything, because now teachers have MLSS to do. And that, if teachers had paperwork before, it's just, one of those things where I can't think of a more dismal time in my teaching career that spans since 1987 that education has looked so bleak to me. And I keep telling my husband we need to move to another country, because my daughter did not do well. She finished 8th grade in the pandemic, started 9th grade. Teachers expected our kids to shift the paradigm of how they learned, but they never changed the paradigm of how they taught. And so here are kids, some thrived online, some struggled, some thrive in person, some struggled. There's, again, it's if you've seen one student in school, you have a million, because they're all different. They don't come to us the same way and with the same experiences. Many of our kids face trauma. At my school, we have at least 20 kids in foster care, and they're shuffled between homes. And it's so hard. We have immigrant families who are living with no water and no electricity. It's just, don't talk to me about data for funding from the federal government and the state when my families don't have food to eat or electricity, let alone internet for their kids to learn online. So it's just, I think we've all hit that wall where we can't anymore, and hopefully we can all pick up the pieces. And part of that, when I think about health equity, is that emotional well-being. And I think that the world is suffering and not able to put a band-aid and heal, where all our brains are so tired. I ditto that, Chloe. I am so exhausted. I don't even sleep anymore. But anyhow, that's what I have to share.
Thank you, Rosa. It's great to hear the perspective of folks that are in school every day. And from a DOH perspective, we're seeing certain things that DOH says we need to measure, that CDC says we need to measure, and numbers that go up and down, claiming, is the crisis over? Do mandates change and things like that? But you're all talking about, it's a crisis that we knew existed before the pandemic that's even louder now. And the numbers that get talked about aren't showing the crisis that you all are still living with every day. And how we get that message out, I'm not quite sure, but thank you for all of you for sharing honestly. Maybe I'll toss another question out of, how can your administration support you? Do you feel supported by administration? How could it be different in some way? After we do administration, then I'll ask about community organizations, because that's, Health Equity Council is one example of a community organization. There's many more that come to your council's meetings. But do you feel supported by administration, and how can that improve? Whoever would like to lead off.
Before we jump into that, Matt, I just wanted to clarify. You do say this is a safe space.
Sure,
but it is also being live streamed on Facebook. So I'm just wondering, to who is it being live streamed?
Anna? Maybe yes, good question. And maybe that impacts, thank you for bringing that up. maybe we can, yeah, go ahead, Anna.
Yeah, we are on the Health Equity Council Facebook page right now. And so anyone who is a friend of the Health Equity Council might be seeing this. We've been wanting to have these conversations as a way to invite other people to be thinking about this stuff, to be maybe inspiring these kinds of conversations at their tables, within their organizations. And then we also are wanting to share the word about COVID test distribution via Facebook Live, but it's a valid question. And I think we're here as a group. The Health Equity Council really values consensus and group decision-making. And if we feel like this conversation is better taken off of Facebook Live so that we can really have the space that we need to support each other, that's definitely something that we can discuss.
So with that, I guess I'll do, if you feel, if you want to talk about how you're being supported in the school, great, or how organizations in the community can support what you've just talked about in the school in terms of being in crisis mode. How do organizations in the community support you?
I can start. I will say I can speak on my administration at my school. And I just imagine this is the case at like many other schools, but I know my admin team is stretched super thin. Our AP and our Dean of Students today are both subbing. That's happening across the board for principals and APs and deans. And like all of the admin staff, they're having to sub because we don't have any subs. And we need subs because people are in quarantine, people are sick, people are tired, like Irene said, and they've got to take a mental health day. And we're so short-staffed right now. It is insane. So I don't know, the question of like whether or not I feel supported by my admin almost feels like a moot point because their capacity is only as far as it goes. They're stretched super thin right now. And I don't feel like it's fair of me necessarily to ask my admin to go above and beyond what they're already doing, because I truly believe that they're doing their best. And that's what I kind of think about all of us. I think we're all doing our best and trying to, none of us have ever gone through this before. My principal has never had to deal with contact tracing. That's like every time he talks about it, it's like a full-time job when he's got to call all the people that, were a possible contact, and anything having to do with COVID that admin has to deal with right now, it's so much extra on their plate. So I just, to paint admin in kind of a fair light, I think all of us are tired. We've already said that. And I think what can happen too in our spaces is that we feel like we need more from our teams. But at the end of the day, what I have to come back to is I truly believe we're all doing our best. And if it's not enough, it's because we're exhausted. And that's for everyone. It's not because people are lazy. It's not because my admin team doesn't want to support me or they don't know how to. It's because they can't. So that's kind of my piece on admin. And then as far as the community goes, just said we're super short staffed, and in a very real, practical way, like, go be a sub. and if you're in any spaces where people need some sort of part-time gig, like, please share the word, go be a substitute. We need substitutes so badly right now. And that's one very practical, super simple way. And there's some schools that are piloting programs where you don't have to have the college hours, you substitute with observation hours. There's some schools that are piloting that. It's happening at Polk right now. So people can come be a sub, parents can come be a sub. They just observe in the classroom one day, and then they're kind of good to go, and they work with like a master teacher on that. But Kelly Services is also trying to, figure out their stuff and how to support us. And so that's another very practical way to support us. And then I'll just say my community school council, I feel so lucky that this is my job, that I get to meet with a group of people, community people who are invested in the well-being of our students and our families. We meet every other week, and at least for us in our space, we're having conversations, we're talking, and it's very healing. And I have a really reliable, consistent council, people that show up. And to just know that these people are there and, hey, can you pitch in for like a teacher appreciation day or really anything that, you know, we need at the school. I know I have a community group that we can ask and lean on, and there's going to be something that comes out of that group. So I would also encourage people, like, look on APS, see if you can find what community schools are in your areas, and see if you can join the council and be a reliable, consistent council member, and show up for the school, donate to it when it needs donations, volunteer in the ways that you can volunteer. Those are some really practical ways that people can help right now. So.
I guess I'll jump in here next. I have to just, echo a lot of what Chloe said. So, for purpose of not being redundant, I'll kind of skip over some of that. But, I do feel that, overall our admin are supportive. Everybody is stretched thin. But in my case, it's just not that I'm not supported, because I have an amazing administrator. We do have a new principal this year. And so she stepped into a whole lot of extra and just continues to have things added to her plate. Obviously, they're out of the norm. And she has definitely risen to the occasion. But that being said, because we have been in such a chaotic, crazy time, there hasn't necessarily been the, the education that, as far as how she can connect with community schools and what it really truly means to be a community school principal. And I know that's in the workings, and I'm hopeful that, I have no doubts that she will rise to that challenge as well. But we are already kind of, we're already more than halfway through this school year. And so it is, it is frustrating as a coordinator to go from my previous principal, who from the moment I started in my position, I had his respect and his support 150%. And then going into a position where I have a new principal who doesn't necessarily know what it means to interact with me, what it does, and there's only so much I can do as the coordinator to actually guide that discussion. So, I'm happy that I'm finally starting to see some more support come around that to help her in that role, especially when she already has so much on her plate, and I recognize that. But hopefully in her getting that, it'll hopefully lighten her load some too, to be able to work as an effective community school principal with, with myself, with our community school council, with, and try to pull some of those things that are happening in the school in silos, hopefully pulling that into, community effort where, many hands make light work, and so the more we can work together, the more we can help lighten the loads, the more we can, make progress without it being, all the weight on one person's back, including our administration. They do bear the brunt of much of the work that goes on in the schools. And so the more we can support them and the more they support us, it really does have to be a collaborative effort. And so working toward that, I'm hopeful that we will get there. And that's why, community schools that have coordinators and principals that have been working together for 4 or 5 years, that's the ideal target. But we also know that's not typically the reality. We know that it is very rare to have a principal remain at a school that long and a coordinator remain at a school that long, and those times actually be at the same time. And eventually it's going to be everybody's starting over and we got another rebuilding year. So, building those foundations, I think, is crucial. And it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. So, I love my work at West Mesa. We have an amazing team, as Matt can attest to. And, I know that we've got some amazing things on the horizon. So I'm happy for that. As far as partners go, I really, really, as a community school coordinator, I especially appreciate my partners like Matt and others who are consistent at attending and engaging with our council, at offering ideas, offering solutions, helping us identify the issues, because sometimes we don't see it from the inside. So we need those outside perspectives sometimes to really point out, like, hey, have you considered this? And oftentimes we haven't, because we're so caught up. When you look at the different perspective levels, we're at the ground level. And so a lot of times we're looking at it from through a very small lens. And so the more we can get those global perspectives and what's going on in the greater community, just having those people who can point that out. And then specifically at West Mesa, one thing that I'm really excited about as far as partnerships is, we wanted to, really engage the community in supporting our efforts around attendance and, getting kids on campus and keeping them on campus, because obviously that's an issue that has been an issue and just definitely been magnified by recent events. And so, how can we have, business owners help us encourage students to get to school and to stay on campus? And hey, maybe you don't need that, that number 3 at McDonald's, or, your breakfast burrito or your Dutch Brothers. Maybe that can wait until after school when you're, done. And obviously we can't expect anybody to deny business, because there's no way for them necessarily know for sure these are students. But how do we get, how do we find ways to discourage students from, stepping off campus, and encourage, and stress the importance of their education. So that's one thing I know that we're looking at working at specifically with local business owners, but we're open to all sorts of partnerships. And, it takes a village to raise a child. And, that's definitely truer today, I feel like, than any time in the past. We need people to come alongside our teachers, alongside our administrators, alongside our schools, to really support our communities in growing effective adults for the future and making sure they have the tools they need. So I guess that's my long-winded answer for that.
I know for sure my school, my 2 principals, my assistant and our main principal, have been really supportive of everybody, really. I mean, these 2 ladies, like you say, they fill in for classes. They, go out on lunch duty, and they, do everybody's job, when they're out. These, we're not only short staffed sometimes with the, and no subs, and we have teachers, double teaming, teaching 2 classes because that teacher's not out. Is out, or somebody just having to jump in from one and run to the PE room to teach PE and then have to go run back. Our principals get up early because we're also short staffed custodians. Our principal has gotten up, her and her assistant have gotten up early, gone to the school. They've cleaned bathrooms. They've cleaned, they fill the toilet paper rolls. They go and they throw trash outside. They shovel the snow. There's things that, these 2 ladies have done this for our school, because it's not just teachers that were short staffed, it's our custodians, and we're down to really just 2 when we normally have 4. And so they've been pulled in different directions, and it's not because, they're our leaders. And the way I see it is they're able to do all that for us. So I need to kick in to do something for them too, whether it's not just my job, but just get in there and try to go above and beyond, because even for me, they understand what I go through mentally sometimes on those days when I just I'm not able to, cope with the way things are. But they understand, and they're able to, hey, don't worry, we'll kick in. As far as my partners, just the other day, Matt brought us boxes of PPE and home testing kits. The same thing with Westside Community Center. I went in there the first day they were giving them out. She just said, here, take this to your school. So, if your teachers get sick, they can right away find out if they can stay and teach or if they need to go home. First choice, same thing. Everybody that, consistently comes, or, just, hey, come on in. Even, as far as incentives, AmeriGas always kicks in, and here, these are for your kids that do go to classes, that have great attendance, that, are getting good grades. This is for them, so I'm just grateful that people are helping each other out and kicking in for each other. So, because it's a tough thing to get through.
Well, it's so good to hear that supports are coming in different places, and just knowing that, the need is even greater, and how can we keep it going? Any other thoughts from folks who haven't shared yet?
Yeah, I could go. I don't have too much to say, just because I've only been here for a month and a half in my position. But in the time frame that I have been there, I definitely feel supported. I feel like I do have a strong sense of agency in the work that I'm doing, and kind of trust and free reign. So I really, really appreciate that. And just to highlight everything that everyone said about everyone needing to go above and beyond and going above and beyond. I mean, it's mind-boggling that the schools are still open, that you know, students still have somewhere to go. It's truly an incredible feat for all of the administrators who have been working really hard to make sure that things are still afloat. So.
And just to round out everybody, I agree that everyone is spread thin and the support is there. But with it also comes a sense of, well, you're pretty qualified. Take all the autonomy you want. But sometimes we need a little more input from other staff members. And it's not the Rosa show, but I do feel the support. It doesn't mean I don't feel supported, but I think because reiterating what everyone said is that everyone is pulled thin and everyone is pulling duties that aren't normally in their job description. And it's just a testament to how much this pandemic shook everything and continues to. I mean, Irene, you wear your mask, girl, if you have to. I do. I have a child with underlying heart conditions, and I wear a mask every day. And I do receive sometimes some criticism, but to each their own. So if you have to wear your mask, Irene, to feel safe, you should.
That actually kind of moves into the a possible next question, if of as mandates outside of schools change, and in particular mask wearing and the rules for that, and then inside schools, I'm curious how the culture of mask wearing is changing, and where do you think it's going? Or yeah.
I guess I'll jump in here first. As somebody who was wearing masks way before it was common and popular. My mother is a kidney transplant recipient, and so several years before the pandemic hit, I very quickly, if I'm sick or not feeling well, I wear my mask. Or when I'd be out in public with my mom and she needed to wear a mask, I definitely wore one in support of her, because you get some weird looks when you're walking through a store with a mask on prior to COVID. So I'm definitely all for masks, but I also recognize that, a lot of people are tired of them right now. And so I think it really is a matter of, we need to be respectful of those who choose to still wear them and those who do not. And, just being mindful of that. I feel like in our schools, we have, it's definitely a mix of, we have individuals, teachers, staff, students, who opt to continue wearing masks, and we have those who do not. And, it really is, I think that we've got to consider people are coming from different perspectives with this, and they have different, health conditions or lack thereof. They have different, past experiences. And so just making sure that you're mindful of, if especially those people who choose to still wear their masks, like being understanding and respectful of that at all times is super important. And I think that at least at West Mesa, I feel that is being accepted. It's very much been, from top down, been supported, that staff, students, teachers, family, whoever's in the school, if they choose to wear a mask, there's no criticism of those individuals, for sure. We want to make sure to support those individuals.
I want to share what my 10th graders shared with me when the mask mandate changed. She came home, we asked her every day, how's school? What's something interesting, something challenging? And she said, Mom, I'm really surprised how many students are still wearing masks. I really thought it was going to go completely, that everyone would just stop wearing them. But she said she estimates 60%, which is pretty high. But she will continue to wear one. She chooses. We don't make her because of her sister's underlying health condition. And she's 16, so she has that metacognition to say, this is what I want to do. And gladly to say she's bullied about other things, but not masks.
So similar to Rosa's story, I was expecting, you know, like throwing the graduation cap up with the masks, but when I came back, the first day, it felt like 90% were still wearing masks. And I'm sure we could graph like the quantity of students wearing masks. It'd be really fascinating. But that's all I have to say. I'm not at their peer level, so I don't know what the dialogues of what's cool, what's not cool. If there's any sort of conversations around that going on, I would love to hear if there are conversations like that going on, but none that I'm privy to in my position.
And I know, like, my son and Rosa's daughter are at the same school, and the same thing. I mean, he's noticed more masks on now, I think. And it's great because, like, when I dropped off my son at school the first day they were allowed to not have to wear them, he sends me a text, "Mom, I forgot to ask you." He's on. Is it okay if should I wear my mask, or am I safe to take it off? And I told him, you know, it's your decision. I said, but I would prefer him wear it. I said, when you're around a big crowd of people, but outside, you know, because he's an athlete, you know, outside, if you're having trouble, you know, running or whatever, definitely give yourself some oxygen, you know. But yeah, even at the school, outside, even when I'm doing lunch duty, these kids are still wearing their masks. And it's not even, you know, I'm so used to, hey, put your mask back up or wear it right over your nose. And it seems like they're actually wearing them. More adults, I think, have chosen not to at the school than the kids. So it's a good feeling.
And I just wanted my last comment to kind of add is that that's really nice. I think everyone at my school, I think we were all pleasantly surprised that, I don't know, there doesn't seem to be a spirit of animosity on this issue, like whether or not people want to wear a mask. It's just the first day that, you know, the rules kind of changed for APS, our principal got on the first morning announcement was like, please just respect what people choose. And, you know, and that's it. And yeah, it was just, I think I've been pleasantly surprised with how little issues we've seen, both like with the kids, like, yeah, then they're just wearing their masks, and then there's some kids that aren't, and it's totally cool. And like Sergio said, I would love to know kind of what the kids are talking about, you know, what's cool, what's not cool. And I would be curious if there's any kids that are being made fun of, or if that's going on their level. I would love to know that. I think that's important for us to know that. But from what I can see and what I've experienced, it's just been so normal, which is so nice.
Thank you all so much. Yeah, this was really informative and helpful. I hope that you all got something out of it. I know I did. I hope that the larger community did. Just again, we are having a conversation. We are Facebook Live. This is the Health Equity Council in Bernalillo County, having a conversation with a group of really dynamic and powerful, important leaders in our community school coordinators,